After more than 30 years, the Cincinnati Bengals are headed to the Super Bowl. And as a Detroit Lions fan, that gives me a lot of hope because Cincinnati is like our AFC cousin. If the Cleveland Browns are our AFC brothers, then that means that the Cincinnati Bengals are our AFC cousins. In the 55 years before this, the Cincinnati Bengals have been to the Super Bowl twice, back in 1981, 1988, losing both to the San Francisco 49ers. I think that's kind of ironic that if the 49ers beat the Rams, they would have gone. The Cincinnati Bengals beat the Chiefs, and they are in. So it would have been a rematch of the last two times that the Cincinnati Bengals made it to the Super Bowl. But as a Lions fan, instead of watching a player that used to play for the team and wondering what he's doing and rooting for him, I am going to be rooting for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I know what you might think. Those of you who are on my other channel know how I feel about Matthew Stafford and that whole situation. But my eyes are on the Cincinnati Bengals. Seeing what they have been through, seeing is what they've done to bring that franchise to relevancy. I think that it's three teams that you really make fun of when you think about the NFL. It's the Detroit Lions, number one, the Cleveland Browns, number two, and the Cincinnati Bengals, number three. But Bengals fans are just like us Lions fans. They are all over their team and all behind them. So it got me wondering, with the Cincinnati Bengals like worst to first in a 2-year span, how close are the Detroit Lions to mimicking, if you will, that success? Brad Holmes was down at the Senior Bowl that will be taking place this weekend. Some of the media was down there, and they asked Brad Holmes about the Cincinnati Bengals and that turnaround. And he said that something that really kind of stood out to me is that they did it the right way. They built through the draft, that he loved what Zach was doing. And as we can see, that is what the Detroit Lions are starting to do, is build through the draft. He also said about plugging holes in free agency. So using free agency as a counterbalance, if you will, to the NFL draft. But you're going to get that longevity through the NFL draft. If I'm not mistaken, the Cincinnati Bengals, they had 10 draft picks last year. The year before that, they get Joe Burrow. Now, last year, Joe Burrow goes down. They lose a ton of games, and they get Jamar Chase. During the NFL draft, there was one team that looked like they might have kept us from getting Penei Sewell. That was the Cincinnati Bengals, because Joe Burrow got creamed last year, blew out his knee because of the lack of offensive line. But instead, they took Jamar Chase with the 5th overall pick. Now, his line is still suspect. They're still going to have to work on that. But that offensive weapon in Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, all those guys, man, have led to the offense covering up for the offensive line. And that's something that I don't think we got to see with Jared Goff, as our offensive line was going through a lot of swings and changes, that Jared Goff just didn't have those same weapons to use. With the emergence of Amon-Ra, when we got Josh Reynolds, kind of changed things, and he was able to kind of do a bit more even with the offensive line. Cincinnati Bengals had 10 picks in the 2021 NFL draft. The Detroit Lions, as of right now, have 10 picks in the NFL draft. But I'll tell you what, this is the first time that I can remember that the Lions will have 4 consecutive top 10 picks. Out of those top 10 picks, even though Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, they kind of left their turds on the way out, they still drafted T.J. Hockenson, and we have yet to see what Jeff Okudah is going to prove in the National Football League. So right there, that's 1 for 1. Then you have the emergence of Penei Sewell, who is going to be very good for a long time as he matures in the NFL. So we can just say that right now, the draft class in the first round for the last 3 years is 2 for 1 right now. And then we're going to have somebody come out this year with the 2nd overall pick. And I think that it will be a difference maker based on the comments that Brad Holmes said before. So how close are the Detroit Lions to becoming the Cincinnati Bengals? It's a little too early to go wins and losses and those type of things. But if the Detroit Lions can hit on this draft like they did last year, they also have another first-round pick in 2023, we could make that turnaround. The NFC North is going to be in a lot of flux. We don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. We don't know who's going to be the coach of the Minnesota Vikings. We don't know what's going on in Chicago. They have their coach and GM, but we don't really know how that's going to turn out. I know a lot of Chicago Bears fans were not happy about the pick at head coach. So we have a lot to see. But if the Detroit Lions draft right, because for me, my eyes are on the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, what they've done through the draft, what they did just enough with free agency, and how everything kind of went wrong for it to go right. Just think about it. In his rookie season, Joe Burrow goes down. They lose, and they wind up getting Jamar Chase. And now, after what they've done, are on their way to the Super Bowl. Lions fans, the Cincinnati Bengals, the way that they did this thing gives us hope that we could one day not only run the NFC North, but run the NFC in its entirety and represent this conference in the NFL Super Bowl. Leave it in the comments below. Do you think with this regime, what Brad and Dan have shown you, the way that Sheila's kind of got out the way, she's done everything she said she was going to do since she took over for her mom. How close do you think the Detroit Lions are to mimicking the success of the Cincinnati Bengals? Leave it in the comments below. My name is Derek. This is Detroit Lions Syndicate. We are already at 700 subscribers, trying to get to 800. And we are trying to reach our goal of 1,000 by Super Bowl Sunday. We have a little less than 2 weeks to make that happen. So if you like Detroit Lions content, give me a subscription. And as always, go Lions.